you're a guy who has no say in your own life, like you want desperately to do something to help you become a better version of you, but you don't have the final say, then you have no control over what happens to you in your life. That is terrifying. You want to do something, but you say, well, it's not up to me. I got to ask somebody's permission. So you have no say in what happens to you. This is you. Don't you care about your life? When will you grab it? You know what you can become. You know what's holding you back. How long will you let your current life pull you back from who you were meant to be? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Father podcast. I'm Chris Rodack. This podcast is about wanting more, needing more for yourself in your life. This is going to be really personal for me and I'm going to read some journal entries that I wrote years ago. And this is really the start of my story and my own rise, how I decided to rise as a father, when it happened, my thought processes at the time. I'm going to dig into my psyche and my emotions at that time. Just got off multiple calls this week with guys who you would look at and think they're doing fine. You know, they make good money, they're in decent shape, but they know they want more. So they joined our program and said, I need to become my best, because there's that terrifying feeling deep down that you will not become what you're meant to be. Other people look at you, think you're doing okay, but you know there's more for you. There's that terrifying feeling some of us get that you might not reach your purpose. I know I have that, and that fuels me to get up when my alarm goes off. Here is a journal entry I made. My story is that during the years that mattered, the years where I was deciding what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, the only thing I wanted to be was a music teacher. I then became what I thought I wanted to be and realized it wasn't what I thought it was. I came to that realization 6 years in after I got married, had a mortgage, had one child and another on the way. At that point, I started actively looking for a way out and a way to replace my income. My story isn't the same as everyone else's. I became what I wanted to be. I reached my goal, and then I had a turning point in my 20s. I started to evolve, started to see the world differently, started to listen to new people, listen to new points of view, gain different perspective, and see what was possible. I reached the pinnacle of what I thought was possible in my small world. Then my ceiling shattered open, and I wanted more. It is December 2020. I am 33, and I want more. It was one of my journal entries. That's how I talked to myself. That's how I journaled and wrote to myself. I needed to see what I was thinking because I had internal strife. I had internal anxiety and stress. And that was because I was frustrated at what I was. I was frustrated with who I was. I knew there was more for me, and I wasn't happy. I wasn't horribly out of shape. I wasn't 300 pounds. I wasn't on death's door. I wasn't an alcoholic. For me, I hit the job I wanted to hit. I reached what I wanted to reach for. I hit my goal. When I was in high school, I said I wanted to be a music teacher. Then I was in college, and I wanted to be a music teacher. I said I want to work at the school. I got a job at that school, hit my job, hit my goal. But I had this deep feeling in myself that I needed more. I needed more for me. And that's what drove me to keep on pushing. And not everyone's going to understand that. There's a few guys who really understand that. There's a few people who understand that. Because a lot of people are just happy with where they are, and that's fine. If you're happy where you are, okay, good. You've done it. You've made it. I have a hard time being happy where I am. I'm the kind of guy who needs to be constantly striving for something. And because of that, new things are coming to me. New opportunities are coming to me. Because I have this constant urge to battle complacency and not be held stuck and held still. That was only able to happen once I changed myself and became the kind of person that could take advantage of the opportunity. Because as you could see back then, I wanted more, but I was not the kind of man who could achieve more. I didn't have the discipline. I didn't have the habits. I didn't have the perspective shift. I didn't have the systems in place like I do now. So I wanted more, but I could not become more because I was not the man who could achieve that. Only now can I take advantage because I am the man. I am the guy who you can hand a tool to, he can use it. Before, I was the kind of guy you would hand the tool to and he couldn't use it because I would sleep in. I would get overly emotional. I didn't have the control or discipline. So you have to become the kind of man who can use what's given to him. A lot of guys say, well, I'm doing fine in my job, in my career, but I don't know. I just feel like there's more for me. Guy just joined us today, and he's probably listening to this. Told me he's a big fan of the podcast. But I related to him so well because I felt the exact same way. He's like, I'm really successful in my job, but I just know there's more for me. And I said, that's okay that you don't know exactly what that is that's more for you. It's okay that that is not 100% defined in your mind. Just purely having the fact that you want more for your life is normal. Many, many guys go through that. But here's the thing. As you change, as you become disciplined, as you surround yourself with other guys who are attacking life like we do in our Men of Fire program, in our sliver of the world, we've got 160-some thousand followers at this time and, 150 guys who've been through the program. It's a very small percentage of guys who voluntarily decide to push themselves to the limit. But if you're like us, then you know that feeling where it's just not enough for you. You just need to continually push yourself to see all that you can become. And at that time in my life, I knew there was more for me. The place I worked, it was, if you're a teacher, in the teacher world, it's like, man, I wish I could work there. That's you get paid well. It's a good school district. That's where people want to work. I did it. And then I realized it's not what I wanted. And I realized that my goals and dreams are allowed to change. I do not have to be held captive to the goals I had as a child. I reached the goal I had as a child, but then I changed and I wanted more. And I'm 37 now. Thank God I jumped off the cliff. Thank God I jumped ship. And I took a massive bet on myself. I could have taken a sabbatical. I could have kept on building my business during my 9-to-5, but I said, no, I want more. I have to go all in on myself. And I love myself for taking that risk. I have so much self-respect and self-pride and self-love because I took a massive bet on myself. I told myself, you deserve the best life possible. So I jumped off the cliff. And now my life will never be the same. Or I could have stayed there forever. I could have stayed in an average life. A life that many people are very happy with. And I've nothing, if you're listening to this and that's you, that's great. We are different people. We are different people, all of us. And if you've reached your pinnacle, then you've done it. We all have different mountaintops. We all have different peaks. This podcast is about me sharing you my story. It's like giving you an insight into my mind. And ever since I was little, I've been very good at expressing the deep parts of my brain and what I'm feeling, and a lot of guys have a hard time expressing themselves, so some of them can find themselves in what I'm saying. But that's what it was. I was 33 years old. I said, it is December 2020. I am 33, and I want more. I saw what I looked like. I said, I want more. I'm 33. This should be the prime of my life. Right now, this should be the prime of my life. If I can't reach my pinnacle in 33, I will never reach my pinnacle. I can reach the pinnacle in my 40s, but that won't be as high of a peak as the peak of my 30s. I could wait till I'm in my 50s, but that's not going to be as high of a peak as in my 40s or 30s. I go all in right now, or I have to live every day of the rest of my life knowing I never reached my prime. And for me, that's torture. For just the kind of guy I am, that is torture. I hate that. And even when I am 100 times more the man that I am right now, I'm still going to be in men's groups, men's programs. I'm going to be in accountability groups, hire coaches to push me, because I will never reach my best, but I will always have people push me to become my best. I will never reach my potential, but I will always be in pursuit of it. The day I stop scratching away at my best is the day that I feel like I'm dying on the inside. That's what I felt like here. So I was laying out my story, and that is important. That's an important part of the process that I take guys through who join us in our Men of Fire program. It's called identity hacking. I was here in this part of my life, I was defining my story. I was saying, this is where I was, this is my mindset, and this is where I want to go. Laying it out like a story that I could read. And then the next part is, what vision do you have for yourself? And you have to also lay that out. Here's another journal entry, 2020, same year. I said, when will you join it? When will you grab it? You see what you can become. You know what's holding you back. How long will you let your current life pull you back from who you were meant to be? And the worst thought, what if every year there's another excuse and you never reach that vision? What if the vision of your true self is never realized? When will it be worth going for? Will you wait until it's too late, until it's now or never? Will you wait until life smacks you over the head? Or will you plan ahead, seize your future, and guide your actions towards your target? I had to battle myself. This was 4 or 5 years ago. I found myself at 33 years old wanting so much more for myself. So there was only one person I had to battle, and that was me. It wasn't my finances. It wasn't the weather. It wasn't the busyness of life. It wasn't chaoses. I had to battle myself so I could become all I can be. There's only one person who holds us back, and that is us. Until you realize that, you will always be stuck. And that's what I was realizing here in outlining for myself. I was being my own coach. I was hacking my own identity. I was shifting my perspective so that I saw the extreme importance of what I do every day. I was having an intervention with myself right here. What if the vision of your true self is never realized? What if you have an excuse every single year? There's a guy who, we had lots of guys join us this week. And we also had some guys who didn't join us. This is the way it is. Whenever you're in the business I'm in is the business of guys, a lot of them who are not action takers, getting them to be action takers. And sometimes the thing that stops them from taking action is them not being action takers. So the men I can help are the men who are willing to jump like I did. So I had a guy message me to one of my posts on Instagram where I'm saying, hey, if you want to see if you're a good fit for this, send me a message. He sends me a message, and I look up, and I was like, oh, there's past messages. So I looked back at our message history. He messaged me a year and a half ago about joining our program. And I had a call with him. I don't even remember, but I had a call with him a year and a half ago. He told me and I could see from the message afterwards, he told me that he decided he was going to try to do it himself. He said, you know what? This was a year and a half ago. I think I'm going to actually try to do it myself, probably just because he didn't want to pay for anything. So I said, all right, good luck. He messages me a year and a half later and says, hey, I want to join your program. So I said, okay, well, set up a call. He had a call with another one of my team guys. He told him the exact same thing. He said, I want to do it. And then this guy said, he left it up to his wife. He said, I want to do it, but I need to see if my wife lets me. That's what my team member told me. And then he got back to him and said, actually, I'm so inspired from our conversation, I think I'm ready to do it alone. Said the exact same thing he told himself a year and a half earlier. And what do you think is going to happen over the next 12 months? That is this man's self-sabotaging habit. That's his mindset. That's his perspective that's keeping him stuck. So the exact same cycle will keep him perpetually stuck. It's having zero control of your life. Isn't that terrifying? That terrifies the shit out of me. Like if you're a guy who has no say in your own life, like you want desperately to do something to help you become a better version of you, but you don't have the final say, then you have no control over what happens to you in your life. That is terrifying. Like you want to do something, but you say, well, it's not up to me. I got to ask somebody's permission. So you have no say in what happens to you. This is you. Don't you care about your life? You. This is what I was journaling. When will you join it? When I said join it, I mean join the life you're meant to have. When will you join it? When will you grab it? You know what you can become. You know what's holding you back. How long will you let your current life pull you back from who you were meant to be? And this guy is living out the worst thought. What if every year there's another excuse and you never reach your vision? It's just always another reason, always another excuse. Here's some other entries. I put, success is how many things you do that day to bring success. You do nothing to bring success, you have no success. You fill your list up with lots of things to bring success, you bring lots of success. This was me brainwashing myself. I also said, I want to tell my kids when they are older that I quit my job when they weren't treating me well and I started a business from scratch. I wrote that before it happened, then made it happen. That is now a memory. My kids lived through me quitting my job, talking about it, and doing it, and watching me build a business from scratch, and now I have kids who say they want to run my business when I'm older. I foretold reality, and it happened now. I refused to let the rest of my life stay stuck in fear. I said, I want Nathan and Lauren to see a rock star dad kicking ass at everything, never miserable at a job, held down by no job, scared at no job, free. That's what I wrote down, and it happened. I said, I want my kids to see me this way. I said, your life is yet to happen. At every moment, a new life is beginning. Do you talk to yourself like that? You must talk to yourself. Here's another one from 2020. I said, my emotions are a jail cell for me. They are keeping me stuck. Fear of what I will feel if is keeping me strapped in place. I like being this person. Enthusiastic, lots of movement with my voice, confident, not pretending. Be the person you like. This is how I journal to myself. When you feel convicted in your life, you must take action. That is the universe giving you a sign and saying this can be a pivot point for the rest of your life to change, or you can stay stuck forever. Many guys stay stuck forever and live a life of misery. There's that famous quote, most guys live lives of quiet desperation, and it is a true quote. Most guys do live lives of quiet desperation because there's always an excuse, there's always fear, there's always doubt, there's always depression, there's always stress and anxiety, and those obstacles overrule the man they want to become and the life they want to have. You cannot let that stop you. Here's a journal entry from April 3rd, 2022. I said, I don't have to work extra hours. I could go on my phone and lazily waste away. I could be satisfied with my job. I could just accept the shitty work environment, getting micromanaged and toyed with by unqualified bosses. I could get fat and just accept that I'll be teaching all next year and slide into a depressed, fucked up, aging middle school teacher, and that's all I'll become. Or I could rise. I can stay up late right now and make content for my brand. I can spread the reach of my podcast so that 3 years from now an advertiser reaches out to me, already has. I can work late into the night right now so my family can spread their wings 3 years from now. I can stay up late right now so I can go to sleep knowing I am free. No one controls me. No matter what physical ailment might come over me, I am a free man. If someone fucks with me, it's because I let them. I am alive right now and have all the leverage. A dead man has no leverage. I have the entire court stacked in my favor. Will I sleep or will I rise? I will rise. This is what I wrote 3 years ago, before I quit my job. I was rising. The fire was growing in me. You can hear the fire in my voice. You can hear the fire in my words grow over the past 2 years. From 2020 to 2022, I became a different man. I was brainwashing myself. I was shifting my perspective. I was replacing my habits. I was putting systems in my life so I could actually improve slowly and steadily, brick by brick, becoming the person I wanted to become because it was worth it to me. Is it worth it to you? Do you have that fire? Do you have just a little spark that you can breathe life into? I was breathing life. I was blowing onto the flame. I wanted it to keep on getting brighter and brighter and brighter. Here's a journal entry I made before in 2019. This was September 14th, 2019, almost 6 years ago. I said, I need to leave this job. No one should be able to tell me where and when I have to do things. I will not let this change who I am. I fast, I work out, I eat healthy. My kids are my priority. My wife is my priority. I want to create abundance in my life. What has changed from yesterday until today in terms of my ability to achieve my goals? Nothing. What I do every day accumulates knowledge, skills, connections, business building. No matter what happens, I have to keep moving forward, getting better, getting more positive, being open to ideas, wealth, the world, everything. Nothing can get in my way. Every obstacle is an opportunity. And here I am. It's almost 2025, good, almost 6 years after I wrote that. Living a life that I foretold and initially saw as a dream, as a goal, now living it, not employed by anyone, my own boss, having live events around the country, men in 11 different countries, all participating in a group, podcast that reaches thousands, being able to provide for my family unlike I was able to before, the best shape of my life, best speaking ability of my life, most organized and disciplined I've ever been, most connection I've ever had with my wife and kids. It's all happened because I replaced my habits, shifted my perspective, and added systems to my life. This can happen. If you have any spark in you, if you have any little flame in you and you can feel it dying, you must grow that fire. You must grow the flame. You must breathe life into it, blow air on that flame and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Nothing kills a man more than watching his fire die out. So do hard things, push yourself, suffer intentionally so that you can handle the suffering of the real world, and rise right now. Leave nothing on the table.